Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Victoria Montefusco and I'm a lover of all things when it comes to makeup, and today I'm trying out a little bit of a different kind of video. So I'm going to be playing with a palette that is on the chopping block. This palette is on the chopping block because A, it's really old, B, I don't really use it that much, and I feel like eyeshadow formulas have really improved since this palette was popular. So, what palette is it? So I am talking about the Anastasia Beverly Hills Modern Renaissance palette. So my palette is very loved, very panned, as you can see. So if you're interested in seeing me use this palette, giving a 2021 perspective on this palette, and just seeing if I'm gonna keep this palette or declutter this palette, then you should definitely keep on watching. So as always, I will prime my eyelids first, and I use my Milani eyeshadow primer to do that. I am going to use the Modern Renaissance today to do a very warm toned neutral look. So I feel like that's really what this palette is good for. So I think I'm going to first go into Golden Ochre, which is that shade I have the most pan in on that top row. And I'm going to take, where is it? My Nabla N306 brush just to fluff that into the crease. So this shade was like my favorite crease shade when I use this palette a lot. Let's see how it performs because this palette is so old. Oh my gosh. So I got this palette when I was in high school, and I remember getting it and I was so excited because it was so hyped up at the time, and all the beauty gurus were talking about it and saying how it was amazing and just like game changing for the cosmetics industry. And I do think it was game changing at the time because, you know, before then, I feel like the mainstream brands stuck with cool tone neutrals and neutrals, and that was really it. And this was the first time we saw a mainstream cosmetics brand that was sold at, you know, Sephora, Ulta, all of that, like really just like push the boundaries a bit and do something interesting and innovative. And I feel like this palette really started the trend of warm tone neutrals that happened, you know, in the mid 2010s. So it was a life-changing palette. It was at least life-changing for me because it was like the first time I ever played with reds and oranges and yellows and all of that. So I really enjoyed this palette when it came out. But I will say, those mattes are powdery. Oh my gosh. So next, I'm going to go into Raw Sienna, which is the shade on the bottom corner. I'm gonna take this tiny crease brush, which is my Nabla N205, and I'm just gonna really define my inner crease with that brush and that shade. Yeah, I remember these mattes being really powdery and getting fallout all over my face whenever I would use this palette, and that is definitely still true. That has not changed, even though this palette is way past its expiration date. On the sticker on the back of the palette, it says 6 months, so in theory, I should have thrown this palette out, I think when I was a freshman in college, and I did not do that, so yeah, but that is okay. I would say though, if you're gonna whip out your Modern Renaissance, make sure you either do your eyes first or use bake on your eyes. And no matter what, make sure you tap off your brush unless you want warm toned neutral fallout all over your face. This definitely doesn't perform the way that I remember it performing. I don't know why. Like this matte is not building up how I want it to in the crease. So that's a bit interesting. Just taking a lot of work to like get the color to show up and then to blend it out, but I think that looks good. So next I'm gonna take Red Ochre, which is that red on the bottom row that has pan. This was my favorite red in the palette because there's 3 reds. So Love Letter, which is the red on the top row, I feel like that one's a pinky red, very just like cooler toned kind of red. I don't know if that makes a lot of sense, but it's more of a pinky red. Venetian Red is similar to Love Letter, but it's a bit more just like warm tone, a little less pinky. And then Red Ochre is like just a true red, no pink undertones, like a true warm toned, beautiful red. And so that was my favorite one in the whole palette. So I'm gonna take my Nabla N204, we're gonna go into Red Ochre, and I'm just gonna put that on my outer corners. So how are you all doing today? I will say if I seem a little bit low energy, I'm slightly hungover. I went out with friends last night and we went out to eat, to get some Mexican food, and then we ended up going to a karaoke bar and just like sang our hearts out, and it was a lot of fun. And yeah, I had more drinks than I'm used to having, so I'm a little, you know, lower energy, just trying to like be chill today. You know, I'm not bad. Like, I'm not dying here. I didn't feel like god awful when I woke up. I haven't like taken any medication for it. Like, I'm fine. But my head feels a little bit funny. I'm a little bit tired. You know, that kind of feeling. And now I'm gonna take my Nabla N305 to blend out the outer corner. Yeah, karaoke was a lot of fun yesterday. We got there right as they opened at 8 p.m. and like nobody was really there. And then we really kicked the party. We really got the party started. One of my friends, he sang first, and then everybody started singing karaoke songs, and it was a lot of fun. And I sang, what did I sing last night? So I sang Bad Romance by Lady Gaga. That was the first song I sang. And then I sang Hopelessly Devoted to You from Grease, and then I sang I Will Always Love You, the Whitney Houston version, which that was a little bit of a risk because that is a ballad, like a power ballad. But it was a crowd pleaser, and I did a pretty good job. I mean, I don't want to like brag or anything, but I think I did a pretty good job. And actually, like, some guy bought me a drink, which was weird. I've never had that happen to me before. He didn't even come up to me. He came up to my friend and like was like, oh, I want to buy her a drink, like after I sang that last song. And so that happened, and that was kind of weird. He never even approached me. It was very odd. And then some guy, I'm not sure if it was the same guy or a different guy, gave my friend his number to give me. And again, I'm like, that's kind of weird. Because like, wouldn't you approach me? I don't know. I've been dating my boyfriend for 4 years, and so like I met him before I was able to like go to bars and drink. So like, I don't really know how that works. And I don't know, I was like, aren't they supposed to like approach the person that they're interested in? Well, either way, like I obviously was not interested at all because I have a boyfriend who I love very much. But I was just like, like I've never really been hit on, at least not that I know of. So like, it felt nice, but I also just felt kind of weird. I don't know, I'm going on a tangent here. I'm now gonna go into Cypress Umber, which is this dark brown with a lot of pan in it. I'm gonna go to that same brush that I used on my outer corner, and we're just gonna really deepen up the outer corner some more. So in the comments, I wanna know, this is what I'm wondering in the comment section. What is your go-to karaoke song? If you've done karaoke before, or if you haven't done karaoke before, like what karaoke song would you choose? Because I had a hard time, I never really thought about like going to karaoke and like choosing a song. So when we got there, I was like, oh no, I don't know what to choose. Like, you want to choose something that you're good at, and that's a song that you know, obviously, but like, you don't want to choose a song that like nobody knows, because you want people to like sing along and all of that. So it was, I don't know, it was harder to pick a song than I thought it was, but it was a lot of fun. My friend Meredith, who was on this channel, she was there, and she sang like some Halsey songs, because that's like what she likes, and she did a really good job, and it was just a lot of fun. We had a really good time. So karaoke bars, man, they're fun. So this is it for the mattes on the top part of my lid. I'm now going to go into my glitter glue, which is my Too Faced glitter glue, and I am actually not going to be using the metallics from this palette on my lids, just because I know I don't like them and I know they didn't age well. I'll use one in my inner corner and brow bone, but I'm not gonna put them on my lids. I want my lids to be a little bit more intense, so I'm gonna go into some of my Clionadh Multichrome singles and we're gonna put that on my lids. So all of my Clionadh Multichrome singles are in this Morphe magnetic palette. I do have a video on all of them in case you want to see that. But today, which ones am I gonna use? It's kind of hard to know which shades I have because they're all like magnetic pans that are square, so it's just hard to know which one is which. I'm gonna use Torch, which is this like red shade. And I think I'm also gonna use, oh gosh, I can't get them out. I think I'm also gonna use this goldy shade, which is called Blaze, on my lids. So I'm gonna do that really quickly before this glitter glue dries. All right, so those are the Clionadh Multichromes on my lids. I also just dusted off my bake. So now it's time for the lower lash line. I'm going to take my Nabla N304 brush and I'm going to go into Warm Taupe and also Relgar. I'm gonna kind of like mix those a bit. So that taupe color and that orange color on my lower lash line. So first I'm gonna go in with the taupe just to like smoke it out. So do that on both eyes. Beautiful. And then we're gonna go into that orange just to give more of a pop of color. Beautiful. So, and last but not least, I need to do my inner corner and brow bone. So I think I'm gonna go into, what's this shade called? Primavera, the one where I have the biggest pan. So that's like a goldy shade. It's a metallic. Ooh, that feels a lot drier than it used to. I think I'm just gonna put that in the inner corner. I think it's a bit too dark for the brow bone. And then maybe I'll take Vermeer, which is that shade above the shade I just used. It's a pinky metallic, and I will put that on the brow bone. I don't know if I'd even call these metallics, to be honest. They're more like shimmers. I am not a fan of this formula because it's just so subtle. Like, I like my metallics, not shimmers, metallics, to have like sparkle, shine, beautifulness, and that just doesn't really have it, so it's okay. All right, so this is the completed eye look without eyeliner or mascara or lips. So I'm going to do that off camera, and then I will give you all my thoughts on the Modern Renaissance palette, tell you if I'm going to declutter it or keep it, and then we will close out the video. All right, everybody, so this is the completed look with eyeliner and mascara, and also my lips are done as well. So just in case you're wondering what I'm wearing on my lips, I really do like this lip combo. I'm wearing the Chanel lip liner in the clear color, just so nothing bleeds out of my lip line. I'm also wearing the Gucci matte lipstick, and this is in the shade Agatha Orange, and then I'm also wearing the Tower 28 lip gloss in the shade Fire, which is this orange color. So I think this is a really pretty combination. I decided to add some gloss just because my lips are dry from last night's activities. So overall, what do I think of the Modern Renaissance? Like, probably 5 years later. I'm gonna put the release year somewhere on the bottom of the screen. I know that's when I got it, and I don't remember how many years it's been since I've had this palette, but I would assume it's probably 5 or more years, which is crazy. So what do I think of this palette? I think certain parts of this palette have aged well. So I think the mattes overall, they work well still, even though the palette is old, and even though these formulas have been improved on by Anastasia and also by other brands that make, you know, good matte eyeshadows. So I think that part of the palette ages well. I think the color story, even though warm tone neutrals are not as trendy as they used to be, I still think the color story ages well. And I think that no matter what, this palette will always be a part of makeup history. So I think that's something to keep in mind too. But I do think the metallics did not age well. Even when I got this palette, I was never a huge fan of the metallics. I would just use them because like that, I just wanted to grab one palette and be done with it. So that's why I've hit pan, especially in that one gold metallic, just because I was like, well, I'm just gonna grab this palette and make a look with it and then, you know, head out the door. That was my mindset when I was younger and like getting into makeup. But I do not think the metallics age well. So I think that they're not really even metallics. I would call them just like shimmers. They're not intense enough. They're not foiled enough. They're just not what I enjoy. And then also I feel like as this palette has aged, they've also gotten a lot drier in texture, and that's not something I enjoy either. So that's something to keep in mind. So am I going to keep this palette or throw away this palette? I think I've decided that this palette, it's time for me to say goodbye. Not because I don't enjoy it, it's just really, 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 really old. And I'm not sure if I'm gonna feel comfortable putting this on my eyes again. Also, this is the first time I've reached for this palette. I don't even remember the last time I reached for this palette, but I can tell you for certain, when I did my eyeshadow palette declutter in the winter time, I have not reached for this since then. So that tells me that this needs to go in the trash. It has lived a good, long life. She will always be a treasured memory for me, but I just think it's time for her to go, and I'm not planning on repurchasing this just because I have other warm-toned neutral palettes in my collection that I really enjoy that are not this palette. So that's just something to keep in mind. This palette is exiting my collection. It's kind of a sad day, like a momentous occasion, because this palette was a part of makeup history. This palette has been a part of my collection for so long. So it's bittersweet. It's a bittersweet decision. I can't believe I have so much emotions about makeup, but I do. So anyways, I hope you all enjoyed this video. A little bit of a different style. If you did, please tell me in the comments down below that you did, or like the video to tell me, or dislike the video to tell me that you don't like it. If you like me and you're not subscribed already, I would love it if you did subscribe to this channel, and let me know as well what other palettes in my collection that are on the older side would you want to see a similar video with. Like, I can tell you, like, another Anastasia palette that I might do a video like this on is the Norvina palette. Not the big plastic ones. I'm talking about like the purple, like fuzzy packaging original Norvina palette. So if you're interested in that, let me know. I'm happy to film that video as well. That palette also just does not get a lot of love in my collection. It's on the older side, so it is also kind of like on the chopping block in my head. But anyways, I hope you all enjoyed this video, and thank you for spending a little part of your day with me, and I will see you all next time. Bye.